I'm Sarah. I'm 25 and I cut him off after 5 perfect dates, but I don't know if I should have.
5 perfect dates. Tell me about these 5 perfect dates.
So I met him on Hinge,
Yeah.
as one does, and we went on 5 dates. He planned them all out. We had fun on them. He was funny, smart. He's 28, I'm 25, so I liked the age difference. After the fifth date, he didn't plan out the sixth date, and he had planned out most of the others. I planned out like a couple of them, but he was good at planning ahead. And then after the fifth one, I noticed him texting back like a little bit slower and not planning the next one. And I just felt like I like felt a shift, even though I hadn't seen him in person. And so I didn't want to end up spiraling like I do with other guys.
Okay,
So
so
I texted him.
slow down for a
Yeah.
sec. Do me, slow down, slow down. Um, you had met him in person on these 5 dates, right?
Yes.
But after the fifth date, you hadn't seen him, and
Yeah.
you told yourself that he was pulling back.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
just okay. All right, all right.
And so then I feel like sometimes with guys, when I start to feel them pulling back, I start spiraling. And so with this guy, I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna cut it off.
What's the difference?
Um, well, then I didn't have to wait for a text back from him.
So, and when you spiral, what does that look like? Just out of curiosity.
Um, Checking my phone a lot, thinking about all the texts I had sent and what I could have sent instead
Okay.
if I did something wrong,
Okay. Sure.
thinking him too much,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
in my
yeah,
head.
yeah. And you, what did you send him when you cut it off?
I had texted him and said, "Do you wanna hang out on Friday?" It was, like, Wednesday or something. He texted back, like, a while later, like, the same day, it was, like, 7 hours later, and said that he couldn't on Friday, and he didn't offer a a
A follow up. Yeah.
yeah, follow-up date. So I texted him and said, "Actually, I've been thinking, and I've realized this isn't what I'm looking for. I wish you the best," whatever. His response was, "That's too bad to hear. I had a lot of fun with you, um, but I'm in a similar headspace." And he asked why the change of heart. And I said, "I'm looking for something with some more consistency," which was kind of dumb because he had been consistent. And then I asked him why the change of heart. And he said,
Because you told
um,
me you didn't want to hang out with me
he
anymore.
said, "I realized that I'm not able to give you like the time that you deserve to have." Something like that.
Hmm.
And then I was like, "Okay." But then I ended up texting him again.
Okay.
So I texted him again like 2 weeks later, and I said, "Or, like, how about if we get drinks again?" And he said, "I'm really sorry. I had a lot of fun with you. It's not about you, but, I don't wanna end up giving mixed signals again, and I don't have, like, the space in my life right now for something
Hmm.
more serious," even though I didn't say I wanted something more serious necessarily. But I get
Necessarily.
where he's coming from.
I want to see a picture of this guy. Um.
I can show you.
All right.
Wait. Oh, yeah, I have one actually.
Handsome.
Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Handsome guy.
Yeah, he's pretty handsome.
Um. Well, I mean, listen. As far as this guy goes, I mean, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it. I think we're. I think it's time to move on. Probably. I'm not even in a position to say, "Oh, your intuition was wrong." It's probably not great that you did it the way you did. No, you know yourself. You've been in these positions. It's self-preservation, right? Like you said, like you know that you were feeling the feeling, whatever this feeling was. You know how in the past it would just you'd go bananas.
Yeah.
You didn't want to do that anymore. You sent him a message. Now there's a small chance that when you sent him that message, you caught him off guard a little bit. It seemed a little, but it seemed like, hey, do you want to hang out? No. All right, this isn't working for me. It was probably a bit of a um, like two very different messages, and then he could have responded just saving face. you know, it's not working
Yeah.
for me either.
He's probably not going to respond and be like, "Wait, no, I'm in love with you." Well, I don't expect that,
Well,
but
not
it'd be
in love
hard for him
with
to come back
you.
and be
He could have just said, "That's really disappointing to hear. Let me know if you change your mind."
yeah,
He could have said that. I've said that
true.
before, you know.
I'll tell him he should say that.
No, but he didn't, so that's okay. And then you did follow up 2 weeks later, and he declined. So, like, that's I think it's time to move on.
Yeah.
And so, I guess more than anything, you probably didn't make like a huge mistake. I mean, your messages were a little goofy, but like nothing you couldn't come back from if he really wanted to. But more importantly, how do we avoid you spiraling in the
Yeah.
future? Because almost certainly, no matter who you go on a date with next, there's gonna be like a period where like whoever he is gonna like pull back a little bit. That's a normal thing. When you were dating him, did you immediately go off the apps?
No, I went on one more date after our first date with someone else. I tried going on dates with other people because I feel like my friends have said it helps to go on dates with other people so you aren't thinking too much about the one person, but, like, I just can't.
Maybe,
I don't
maybe. Yeah,
yeah.
depends on the person. But my point is that everyone's doing that. So even though you're having 5 consistent dates before you like have the talk of are we exclusive but not boyfriend and girlfriend yet, which is what you kids
Yeah.
seem to do these days. He's also going on dates, or these people will go on dates. And so that's not to tell you that to freak you out or have, but like it's just normal nowadays, I feel like, or just in general, for people to not be is totally linearly consistent. That's great.
Yeah,
But
true.
so how do you avoid freaking out? Because it's, a freak out is always going to feel like a freak out to whoever you're freaking out to, and they won't have the context as to why you're freaking out. Don't give them a reason to be like, whoa, no, okay, hold on.
Well, and so then I try to tell myself, I'm like, "I don't really actually know them. It's only been, like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, 3, 4, or 5 dates."
Yeah, which is all true.
Yeah, it is all true, and
Yeah,
it kind of helps a little bit,
yeah.
but, like, it doesn't fully.
In what way? You're just locked in your mind. You're kind of obsessing.
Yeah.
And so, like, what are you obsessing about?
Why they might not be responding, like, thinking like, if they had mentioned that they, I don't know, go to the gym after work, I'm like, "Okay, well, he should be home by now, like, so he probably should be responding by now." Or just, like, thinking about just giving it too much energy and thinking about
Yeah,
it all too much.
I'm trying to figure out how to say this to you.
You can say that.
No, I know. I mean, I know. I'm just trying. I want to say it in a way that's like helpful. This is not meant to be a. This is not about you. Like men are just not that complicated. You know what I'm saying? Like in the sense that they're either like super into you, or they're not. You know,
Yeah.
and the energy you're analyzing yourself to a degree that they're not analyzing you. When you're going on these dates, it sounds like you're very much all right. What are they going to find out about me? What's wrong with me? What don't they like about me? What did I say wrong on a date? I don't think men get the ick quite like the ladies do. It's possible men do get the ick. I don't think we're quite as fickle. Like you could trip and fall and he'll still go out with you.
Yeah.
And it seems like sometimes the boys aren't allowed to look a little clumsy. It's like right now you're saying I don't really know them. Like you're saying it after you feel the anxiety and the panic, and then you're trying to talk yourself off the ledge by be like, well, I feel these anxious feelings and I'm freaking out, but like I don't really know them. It's just about rejection, it's just about like not being accepted or oh, it's happening again. It's not about you're not logically thinking about the stranger not
Yeah.
liking you. So it's hard for you to like that line of thought isn't stopping you or helping you from getting out of that space. Like I feel like a psychologist would be like, your frontal lobe is, whatever the fuck. But it's more about like you just kind of coming in with a frame of mind early on in the dating time. You really just have to really almost disconnect a little bit. Right now, You're going on other dates with guys to distract you from him, Mr. Right. The guy, you know.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah,
if you if you're doing that in that mindset, you're only making it worse, right? Like it's like if you get your heart broken, you know, and then your friends tell you to go, you're like, oh, I got to get back out there. If you start dating too soon after a bad breakup, it just makes you miss that person even more. It doesn't help you, right? Because then you're just comparing. Most dates you go on, you're not into them. Like right. Most dates you're like, oh, here's another person, great.
yeah.
And unless meet someone you are really excited about, which is already rare, then that just makes you pine over the person you're heartbroken. And in your case, like that's not much different. You're not heartbroken, but you are excited about someone already. So going on dates to forget about the person you're excited about is only going to make you more excited.
Oh, that's
Unless
actually a good point. Yeah.
unless you get lucky with like, oh my God, I'm also excited about him. But
Yeah.
just some guy buying you a meal or a drink, just to only find out that he's super into like the Marvel universe is like not gonna like it's not gonna help.
Well, and I feel like that's what happened the date I went on after my first date with the 5-date guy. I went on a date with someone else, and I just was like, "Oh, I like that other guy so much more." And then it just makes me and then I just start thinking about him more. I guess also my thing on dates is kind of separate, but is when I'm on dates, I just kind of talk a lot when I'm nervous. And so I'll often lead the conversation, like maybe a bit too much. I feel like that's also who I am as a person. I'm not like
Yeah. Do you
I'm kind of
ever
like assertive and like,
do you
yeah.
ever have you ever acknowledged your nerves on a date? Just feel like honestly, I get a little nervous on dates and I talk too much and with a little bit of vulnerability.
No, but I could do that, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. It's worth a shot. I mean, it's better than you being a little goofy on the other end of the table, and they're like, "What's going on with her?" Like
Okay.
you have an endearing personality to you. Like you have a
Thanks.
very likable demeanor, and you can tell you have a bit of a nervous energy. That's okay. It's charming. It's charming. So if you are into someone, you can be like, honestly, and you can just don't even have to, don't gas them up. You don't have to be like, oh my God, I'm just so nervous to meet you. It's just like, first dates, first date jitters. They just make me nervous. Like, you seem cute, but I don't know, meeting strange men, just
Yeah, okay, I could try
you could
that.
just be a little goofy, throw in a little humor. You seem like you
Yeah,
have a sense of
I mean,
humor.
I
You like
do.
funny people.
Yes. They have to be funny.
Yeah.
But I feel like guys don't often like a girl to be funny. They just wanna be funny.
Well,
But
sure.
maybe that's not true.
It depends on the guy. Everyone
Yeah.
likes a sense of humor, you know.
Yeah.
Now, the funny guy doesn't want to have to compete for jokes.
Yeah. True.
Um,
Okay, so then when things end up coming to a close, like I end it or the guy ends it, I do what I often did with the guy I was telling you about, where I'll even though I know it's over, then I start thinking about it even more, and then I wanna reach back out again.
that's normal.
Oh, and then I do? Bad? Fine.
What do you have to lose? I don't know. Like you
Okay, that's
reach,
what I think. Great.
yeah, I don't think it's a crime. I don't like, as long as you're, like, the only thing you have to lose is a little bit of like, it's an unnecessary sad afternoon by like deciding to obsess over something for the sake of obsessing over it. And then convincing yourself you should reach out when deep down you really know you shouldn't, or it's not going to do anything, and then only to get rejected and then like just kind of like have a bad afternoon. Like that's the only thing you have to lose. And if it's not that bad, then shoot your shot, girl.
Yeah, okay, because then I've found that once I end up sending that text, I'm not obsessing anymore. I don't even care if they respond
There you
saying
go. So
yes. I'm
maybe
like,
it's
"Okay, whatever, now I'm not thinking about it
there
anymore."
you go.
No. My friends are all like, "No, don't text him." I'm like, "Oh, that's fine." Okay, great, that actually helps. I can just keep doing that.
I do
Maybe not
think
too much.
I say this with love to your friends. I stop asking them for dating advice.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't like I just it's the blind leading the blind. And I don't mean, and listen, I'm that's a very generality, but if it's like single people, everyone's just projecting their own dating experiences onto their friends. If you have someone, man or woman, who is a friend, who's kind of outside of the dating scene, who is content with their romantic life, whether they're, a nun or married or just like not out there fighting the good fight like you are. It's like, if they're out there on the grind on the apps like you, they're not going to be giving you solid advice because it's a minefield out
Yeah.
there, and it's a lot of like they're going to give you advice that they want someone to say to them, you know and
Yeah.
maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
And people have strong opinions on their dating advice too.
Yeah.
So, like, if they tell you not to text them, they're really like, "Don't text him." So, messes with me a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, I can just stop asking people.
Stop asking other single people.
Yeah, yeah, single people, yeah. I mean, most of my friends are.
It's like I literally I'll never forget. I was old enough to know better, but I was very single, and I decided, I saw someone's IG content, and I was like, oh, they're cute. It's a little different than the type of person I had gone for in the past. And then a girlfriend of mine, friend, that's a girl, was simultaneously into this guy who was out with the boys and hadn't been reaching out to her, you know,
Yeah,
and she was literally waiting for him to call. And so I was telling her about this girl. I was like, yeah, what do you think? I was like, I wanted to, and she's like, I'm super in, I love this for you, and she just kept convincing me to reach out to her. I kept reaching, and all she wanted was this guy to reach out to her. It was the worst advice. I knew she was giving me bad advice, but I wanted to be convinced to like keep trying to reach out. I looked like a fucking psychopath because she was like,
keep DMing.
she's just like, yeah, that was like, she was just telling me what she really wanted this guy to do for her. She'll love it. And I'm like, no, you'll love it. Like I'm going to look like a psychopath.
Yeah.
And I did look like a psychopath.
Well, and that's what happens. People give bad advice and then
Yeah.
it's bad, but it's like what you wanna do. Okay, so basically I should just maybe on a first date let them know I'm a little nervous.
If you feel nervous, yeah. If you feel that nerves and you feel kind of jittery and you feel like you're talking too much, take a breath.
Yeah.
I got, first date nerves, man.
It's not even that I'm nervous to meet them, I don't really care. It's more just that I don't like when there's a silence in a conversation, so I get nervous that there might be a silence in a conversation.
Maybe that's helpful. Like, maybe, if there are first dates are awkward, no one likes the uncomfortable silence. And if you have the guts enough to say something, there's nothing wrong with that,
I mean, they always ask for a second, so yeah. So
Pop
I
off,
say it
queen.
seems to be going
Yeah.
well, a lot of the time, though, they like, I'm just not interested or
Yeah,
I
that's
shouldn't have
okay.
even gone on the
But
date to
listen,
begin with, but
listen, I
yeah.
talk to a lot of people who have a hard time getting that second date. So like don't discount the fact that like you clearly are a good conversationalist, and that is honestly in today's day and age a lot hard for people.
Well, I talk a lot, but I'm, like, not caring that I'm going on a date with them in particular, but then once I start to like them, it's like, I turn crazy.
You and everyone else. It's not even just the
Yeah,
girls.
I
Like,
know. Yeah, yeah.
again, that story I told
It
you,
doesn't seem to be the guy.
that story I told you, I mean, I wasn't crazy, but I was like knowingly getting bad advice and taking it,
Yeah.
and that's kind of crazy.
Like, in the past few months, there's been a couple guys I've gone on more than 4 dates with, which I feel like is when it starts to get more real, and I feel like whenever those kinds of things end, it's just so disheartening, and then it's like, I have to do this again. I don't know,
Have you?
I
When,
just
when
gotta
when
keep
was the
at
last
it,
time
I
you
guess.
had a long-term boyfriend?
It's a year and a half ago, or, like, almost
How
2
long was
years.
that?
For 2 years.
How'd that end?
Um, I was moving, but also I kind of didn't really like him that much, and
Okay.
I feel like the whole 2nd year of dating, I wanted to break up, and then I was moving, so that just made it easy.
When you say I have to do this again, what is that
Like,
again? What is a thing you have to do again?
go back on well, I don't really mind being on Hinge, I guess, but it's more like go on a first date, which I'm never excited for, they end up being fine, like, maybe half the time, but when they're not fine, I'm, like, really not having it. And then, um,
How do you get out of those dates?
I tell myself like, I had a date this past, Tuesday, and I told myself the date was at 7, so I told myself I had to stay until 8:15, and then, like, if it's
If it's
bad, I
bad,
can
yeah.
leave at 8:15. 'Cause sometimes on dates, I'm, like, sitting there and I'm like, "It's only been half an hour." Anyway, that guy on Tuesday did not like him. And then I'm tired for work the next day, and I'm like, "Why'd I even go on a date? I knew I wouldn't like him."
So what led up to that first date? I'm curious. What kind of conversations on Hinge?
Not much. He lives in my neighborhood, so, like, I think we talked a little bit about, like, what restaurants we like around here, and then it wasn't much on Hinge. I don't really like to talk too much before a first date.
Is no one taking my advice out there? No one's doing the Zoom dates, the FaceTime
I
date?
think about that all the time because I listen to the podcast a lot, and you always say that, and I think it's good advice, but I think guys would find it weird.
We had a caller the other day who said as much, or well, I mean, it wasn't that she found it weird. She suggested it, and he was like, "No, I don't want to do that." And she was like, "Well, okay, that." I agreed with her. She saw it as like a red flag.
Yeah, but also if a guy asked me to FaceTime, I don't know if I'd want to either. Just 'cause, like,
Maybe I do think it's a little
yeah.
different. I mean, I think it's
For a girl to ask, it's
yeah,
different.
yeah. It's like, hey, are you gonna murder me? I honestly think the reasons why people wouldn't ask are for the reasons why you might save yourself the energy and time. You're willing to go on dates. You're active on the apps. You see, it sounds like I'm getting the impression that like when it comes to your dating problems, it's not finding the dates, it's not having the guts to go on the dates, it's not knowing what to say on the first dates. You're doing that's all great. And so many people struggle with various aspects of that part. Like it's all hard, right? And you seem to be pretty good at some of the hard stuff, right? But like it's just fucking exhausting, and then you get a little anxious once you start liking a guy and you become a different person, which is a whole other thing. But right, like the kind of the grind of the dating, you're actually got that down. You're not that bad at it, and but like many of them, you're just not into, which is like that's good. It would be a problem if you were like they're all great, and I'm like they're not all great. You're just
Yeah, true,
you
that's a
need
good
to up
point.
your standards. So like you're supposed to get excited maybe 1 out of 5 guys, maybe. And so
Yeah.
the other 4 dates, you're just like fuck, like ugh. And like many of those, at least half of those, maybe all of them, you could figure that out on a Zoom date. Now, understand that like it's not as
Mhm.
common. It's, you might get a little I just like if I wanted to go on a date with a girl, I have a limited time on dating apps, but I've been, I've been on them for a minute, and so it's just that like, right. Like you have all these matches, right? You're swiping, you're swiping, you're swiping. Think about like your mindset, right? And the guy's going to be the same way. Like you're swiping, you're swiping, and then you have like what, 5 or 10 matches. Then you talk to a handful of them. It gets a little cloudy in terms of who you're really excited about. Short of like you just thinking they're really hot, that's the only thing you can really trust is their picture for the most time.
Yeah.
But they can lie about their picture, so then there's also that. And they can be a little deceiving. But like so you're only getting really excited, and I just remember like a lot of times when you think about dates, you're kind of like should I? Should I not? You're kind of convincing
It's
yourself.
a lot
The
of that,
boys are
yeah.
like, I don't know, this is going to cost me like $60. Do I really, and
Oh, true.
and you're
So
like,
for them, they might be like, "I can just Zoom and save some money."
maybe, yeah.
That's actually a good
But how
point.
you
That could
frame it
make me
matters.
think.
It's like, let's save each, like, listen, you seem cool, but let's FaceTime and like, you can maybe be jokey about it. I guess what I'm saying, and I think about this strongly. I think you're just going to weed a lot of people out. I just think the guys who like get really defensive and weird, that it's just not that hard to get on Zoom. Like you guys are Gen Z, you use it. You guys are the tech age, like I come from an era when like FaceTiming was new, and I was talking to a girl long distance, and she was like, "That's weird. We don't like, huh?" Like, because it was literally new. Now, like you're FaceTiming your friends all the time, right? Like I'm guessing, do you guys even call on the phone, or is it always FaceTime? Right? Like it's
Half and half.
half and half, right?
Mostly
So
FaceTime,
you're
yeah.
pretty everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it. The friends, the boys are doing it with the guys. Like it's not that normal to jump on a FaceTime or a Zoom. I don't think you should be sharing your number with a bunch of strange dudes, which is why a Zoom is kind of nice. But like, you could just be like, yo, like, let's save each other like the first date awkwardness and like, let's have a fun Zoom date. It's like, also you guys, we're 5 years removed from COVID. Like, everyone knows how to jump
Yeah.
on. It's not that weird anymore. And yes, a lot of guys will say no, but I firmly believe that they're like, you saved yourself. Like, it's not that weird. Even if it's just like, I'm a girl, you're a guy, I want to feel safe. It's such an easy opportunity for men to make a woman feel safe. And if they do the opposite, that's a red flag on them, to not have the self-awareness that maybe she's asking for a little bit of comfort and confidence.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like often within the first, like, 10 minutes of a date, I know if I wanna be there longer or
Yeah.
not, but then you have to sit there for, like,
Listen, my
another
whole
hour.
life of being on TV, people told me I look taller in person, and they said I was better looking in person. And I'm sure I could have this, like, but if I were like nervous about that, if I were dating, like, just have a sense of
Yeah,
humor, be like, I swear to God, I'm better looking and taller in person, like, or whatever. You just be silly or fun or whatever. You're just, what are you looking for in a Zoom? You're just looking for like a little bit of rapport, a little bit of ease. If you go on a Zoom and it's
yeah.
just like, hey, so I don't know, like, what did you want to talk about? You're gonna be like, okay,
And also, like, I feel like there's some like, they don't have their job sometimes on their Hinge. So, like, there's some questions you can ask on Zoom or FaceTime that would
well,
are
careful about
are
like
important.
jumping on a Zoom and be like, so what do you do?
No, I know, I'd play
Because that's what do you do
later
is how
on in the
much money you
conversation.
make.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, but also, like, certain jobs I wouldn't not as interested in.
Like what? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I know you used to do sales, so no offense, but, sales,
Okay. What is
I want a job where people make a positive impact. I'm a kindergarten teacher, so, like, to me, it's pretty important that I do something that, like, makes a big impact every day, and I feel like some jobs, if you're just doing it to make money, I don't really find that attractive.
okay?
I want you to be, like, really passionate about why you're doing what you're doing, or, like, trying to do something positive. And sales, I feel like you're just trying to sell stuff to people who don't wanna buy it, but maybe I'm wrong. I've gone varying opinions on this.
I think people in the sales industry, you can get a mixed bag of people like anything else. I've met some really shitty teachers.
Yeah,
As people, not many as teachers. I've met some really shitty healthcare workers. Sales certainly attracts a certain type of motivated person. Often they are money motivated, for sure. That being said, despite being in sales, like, I don't know, there was a period of time where I don't know, I donated my time every Saturday at a food pantry for 3 years.
oh, that's very nice.
While still in sales, so like you don't
Yeah,
have to,
yeah,
there's,
that's a good point.
you can be a pretty good guy or person and be in sales. You can also be a shitty person. So, try not
Yeah,
to judge a book by its cover, but I do think you can use it as a data point. That's like, all right, sales, there's a good, you know, you can ask them, what are they passionate about?
yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah, I def
also will say it's sometimes hard, especially for men or people, but like men, I think, guys have this desire to feel like they know what what's their career going to be. I have this kind of um, belief that if you're under the age of 30 and you run some kind of nonprofit charity, you're a con artist, which is a real generalization. It's a huge
I can get
generalization.
behind that.
But my logic is like, that's something you do because like you've made it and you have a passion and now you have some extra time on your hand and you truly can give back. And very few people are set with, and if there's a lot of loopholes in nonprofits and foundations to be kind of shady. And also there's a lot of goodwill that comes with it and it looks great and it's flattering and it's, but it's like, usually the person who does that with really pure intentions isn't chasing anything else. They've have everything else. They've met their dreams and goals and careers. And I think the person who's like still figuring it out and the thing they were trying to figure out is the non-for-profit, that the chances are they're maybe searching for other other things. Maybe try to generalize a little bit less. It's dangerous to generalize because I think you weed out a lot of good people. Because there's good people everywhere, there's bad people everywhere. It's like it doesn't matter what city you're in, you can find great people, you can find shitty people. There's just more of those people in say larger cities, But just try to slow down a little bit. I think you're doing a lot of good things when it comes to dating, and when you get freaked out, I guess. Yeah, definitely just don't end it because of a vibe.
Should I have asked, like, just wanted to check in about how this is going? Or just leave it? Just wait for him to text me about another date? Because I just had asked him already.
Well, maybe somewhere in the middle. You felt like he was pulling away a little bit. And then like one time he wasn't available. And the first time his patterns changed, you just like cut it off. But like, again, you weren't totally wrong.
Yeah.
You noticed a change in his behavior. You called him out. The alternative is it's just the aggressive, like because you're trying to avoid that like period of this like freaking out.
Yeah.
So in that case, you did help. It's less about what you should say to them and more about how do you get yourself in a place where the unknown doesn't freak you out.
Well, I guess I'll work on that.
Well, I think what you can try to work on, and then then we have to go, is like this mindset of like, oh, after 4 or 5 dates isn't much, right? You've done it before, you'll do it again. And there's something about you going on 4 or 5 dates that makes you like kind of start thinking, oh, this could be something, and almost getting you in like girlfriend relationship mode. It's only been 4 or 5 dates and you're not building that much rapport. And this whole starting over, it's just like you're acting like that's why I asked you, have you had a past relationship? You kind of were almost giving you've never had a boyfriend when you said that, because it was like, well, the starting out, like the people, like when you have a relationship for a year or two and then you have that comfort and that familiarity, and you're not dating, you're not going out on the grind, and there's just to go back out in the dating world is definitely like oh my God, I got to do that again. That sucks. Maybe you just need to take a little bit of a dating break, because you've been in it for a minute, and that's okay.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate the advice.
I hope this was helpful.
Thanks. It was. And congrats on the twins.
Thank you.
And thanks for having my favorite podcast ever. It's awesome.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot. But yeah, it's just slow down. You're
Okay.
you're doing good things. Do you get therapy? Are you in therapy?
I like here and there, and then I stop.
What do you go to therapy for when you go?
I don't really like my therapist is the problem.
Get a new therapist.
Yeah, a new therapist. I know.
There's a lot of therapists out there. Well, I only asked because, and again, I don't know, like I'm not a like attachment style expert, but this kind of nervous energy, like you got to figure out, and that's really your thing, is just to like how to regulate your emotions when you're feeling the most anxious. Like, who do you call and reach out to? I'm not always available. And your friends are not the people you need to be going to. And honestly, like just how to regulate those kind of, when you're really feeling that anxious feeling, finding someone who's really good at helping you regulate those emotions without giving you bad advice, because sometimes the answer isn't to do anything. It's just to it's to change your perspective or reframe your thinking. Sometimes it's just like, take a fucking beat, take a breath, like think about literally anything else. Just calm the fuck down. Someone might say it a little bit more helpful than that. But,
no, that's more helpful.
You know, sometimes that's just the answer. Let's just go do something else. I don't know. I don't have the answer. It doesn't matter. It'll figure itself out. Let's just go do anything else. In the meantime, he is just a guy you barely know. And I don't know what's going to happen, but like you are going to be fine. So save yourself the freak out and let's just whatever. Like, and also what I said it's a waste of energy. You being like, was it me? Is it this? Is it that? Like, I just remember when I was single, it's just not that complicated. We don't have the answer. Do you have the answer when you're dating? When you get the ick, can you explain it? You know what I'm saying? Is it like something where if a guy was like, well, can you explain to me why you wouldn't even have an answer. You'd be like, I don't know. I just don't, and I just do. So instead of like dissecting your behavior and overanalyzing every little thing you did or didn't. They don't have an answer. It's just a vibe that early on. So they're either into you or they're not. You can't do anything about it. So like, why are you spending a bunch of time trying to figure out what you did wrong?
True. It's not helping me. Just puts me in my head.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you do give off an energy, and by you, I just mean anyone, when you're like, just don't give a shit. That's so,
Yeah, because then they like you if you seem to not care.
And they like, people want to chase.
catch-22.
People want to chase. People want to.
I know. But like if I know I like you, I like you. So then I have to play.
But you don't know
play
if
it
you
more
like
chill.
them. You don't. He has a nice face and a good sense of humor, and that's neat. But like, so does Wes Wilson, and now we're thinking he's kind of not a great guy. I don't know if you watch Summer House.
No, I don't. So I don't know who that is.
It's okay. But he's a good-looking, funny guy turns out he's been,
Yeah.
being your classic fuckboy.
Yeah, and I guess even if you end up dating them, you might know after a year you don't like them.
Correct. Yeah. That's, the guy you dated for 2 years, and then a year you stuck with him after you didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point where you were like excited about him. He would have been, if he would have been less into you, you would have freaked out, and then you ended up being like, oh my God, you're here.
True.
So find your friend that helps you slow down, and maybe that friend is a new therapist.
Okay. Well, I'll look out for one.
All right. Good luck out there.
Thanks.
Keep us
posted.
posted.
A good one. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Keep us posted on your dating life.
I will.
All right. Take care.
All right.
All
bye.
Right, bye-bye. What's up, everybody? Don't forget that all Viall Files Plus content is ad-free. Plus, for all you Ask Nick listeners out there, your update specials are ready and waiting for you. I know you are very interested on the follow-up calls. What has happened to these people after they heard my advice? Did it help them? Did it hurt them? Has their life changed? Well, you can find out on Update Plus, and you can get Update Plus behind Viall Files Plus, so go to viallfiles.com to sign up. You will be glad that you did. Building your business starts with having the right people in your corner, but hiring help shouldn't be a headache or a drain on your budget. That's where Upwork comes in to save the day. Upwork makes it easy to hire specialized freelance quickly. They have the expertise you need without weeks of recruiting or committing to a full-time hire. So you can delegate smarter, move faster, and focus on growing your business. With Upwork, scaling a business is a lot easier when you have the right people, and Upwork makes that possible. That's why so many growing teams use Upwork. It's the one-stop platform where you can find, hire, and pay expert freelancers across over 125 categories. Whether you need help with a one-off project or an ongoing support, Upwork has you covered. You can easily browse profiles, review past work, and even get help scoping the role. So hiring feels fast and straightforward instead of overwhelming. And with Business Plus, Upwork can match you with top freelance talent in under 6 hours using AI-powered shortlisting. They can also handle contracts and payments all in one place, so you can spend less time managing logistics and more time actually running your business. It's free to sign up and easy to get started, so what are you waiting for? Your next great hire is waiting for you on Upwork. As you guys know, we had those really awesome reunions that we delivered for you last month, and you can imagine that takes a little bit more lift. We used Upwork to find some great editing talent to help us get through those critical times. It was so easy, so painless, and stress-free. It really helped us deliver on giving you guys the great episodes that you come to expect at the Viall Files. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com to connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. UPWORK.com, Upwork.com. Hey, listen, it's spring. It's time to refresh. Refresh your house, refresh your outdoor space. We're doing that up at the lake, and we are going to Article to get some great outdoor furniture. We've had some great outdoor furniture for some time now. We've talked about it. Some amazing, these fancy, I call them fancy beanbag chairs, but they're like lounge chairs that are soft and easy to wash, durable. We've had them for over 2 years now. They look as good as new. Also, some great lounge chairs. They have great couches, great dining tables. Every room in your house, they have you covered. Everything from packaging to furniture is sturdy, well-made, and high quality. We have a toddler at home and twins on the way. We always want to make our house feel cozy and comfortable, and Article has us do it. It's always our first go-to when we're looking for a new piece of furniture because Article has it all. Also, what I love about Article, it's just a really easy shopping experience, and most of their furniture on their website is ready to ship when you buy it, which is not the case with most furniture stores. You're always waiting weeks, sometimes months to get the furniture you want. Not with Article. It's wonderful. It's easy. It's painless. Their customer service is amazing. They also have their 30-day satisfaction guarantee and a very easy return process. So anytime you're not absolutely in love with your Article furniture, no problem. You can exchange it or just get your money back. It makes such a big difference because obviously you want to make sure you feel great with great furniture. It's an investment in your happiness. So invest in your happiness and get some Article furnitures to refresh your space. Any room in your house can be improved with Article. Article offers a curated range of mid-century modern, coastal, and Scandi-inspired pieces that not only shine on their own, but also pair seamlessly with nearly any other Article product. This thoughtful design approach makes it incredibly easy to mix and match, helping you create a space that feels cohesive and stylish. Can't say enough of amazing things about Article. I've been a customer for Article for over 7 years now. Again, they're always my go-to for any great pieces of furniture. It's durable, well-made, and looks stylish. So if you're looking to upgrade any room in your house this spring, look to Article. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/VIALL. And the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/VIALL for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. This one's for all my TV lovers. My Entertainment from DirecTV gets you 60 plus channels and Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max all in one pack. But here's the thing, with so much great TV in My Entertainment, you're going to want to talk about everything you've been watching. Just remember that your friends might not be as well watched as you. Don't be a spoiler, and encourage them to get My Entertainment for just $34.99 a month. Go to directv.com/genre packs and sign up today. New customers only. Service renews monthly unless canceled. Credit card required. Conditions apply to all apps. HBO Max Basics with ads begin after DirecTV 5-day trial. Learn more at directv.com. Restrictions apply. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Sarah, and my husband says cruel things to me on purpose to make me feel bad. And I am 22.
Okay. How old's your husband?
He is also 22. We're only 3 months apart.
How bad is it? Are you thinking about leaving or?
I am, because just of the things that he has said. And then, I mean, part of it's depression, but like listening to different people talk about their depression. If you're depressed, it doesn't make it your partner's fault for you to be mean to them, I feel like. And I feel like I'm like the punching bag in a way. He said things, I guess, I don't know. There's just so many. I don't really know where to start with it. But one big thing is he told me he was regret getting married to me, but then would like backpedal on it and be like, no, I didn't mean that, but will say it to me and be nasty. And he also told me that I baby trapped him with our daughter and we're married, which I did not do. I don't know how you baby trap your husband.
After you get married?
Yes, we had been married for 2 years.
Does your husband like suffer from like clinical depression, or is it like sometimes he's sad?
He actually is depressed. He had a very like terrible childhood.
Okay.
That's legit, and it's not just like something that he's just sad sometimes.
Okay.
But he seems to let it out on me, and then it just, I don't know.
It's tough, yeah. When he's not being a total asshole to you, does he recognize how bad it is, or is he still kind of, is he a little dismissive where it's just like, you're overreacting, it's not that bad, I'm sorry, but like, get over it?
Yeah, he recognizes how bad it is, but then like will say that he's sorry, but then facts go back on it because he'll say like, well, I'm this way because you don't make me feel comfortable or safe to be nice to you about it. And I'm just like, what do you mean? So I'm not very good at like remembering exact things. So like when we get in arguments and things and he tries to bring up stuff, I can't like remember because that's just not how my brain works, and have a baby and it's a lot. When I was going through this, like the majority of it, I started like taking notes of things. One thing I wanted to say is, so he recognizes it, and then he told me, I say mean things to you to hurt you, to make you feel how I feel. And he like told me that.
Well, as hard as that, I mean, like, well, that's fucked up. First of all, he shouldn't say that to his wife, and that's really mean, and I'm sorry he's saying that. But I'm sure you've heard the saying, hurt people hurt people. So as crazy as that sounds, in a weird way, he's articulating and being honest with his reasons for doing it, which honestly seem honest. It's, you know, it's fucked up, but in a weird way, he is kind of recognizing it.
I don't know if I could be mad because it's just like he recognizes what he's doing, but it's also, does that make it worse?
What it doesn't make it is okay. Like his reasonings and his depression is certainly above my like ability to like diagnose or explain to you like what you should or shouldn't be okay with, and more importantly, like why he does what he does. But I guess to correct myself, I do feel like I can strongly say, like, you don't have to be okay with like, it's not an excuse for poor treatment, especially consistently poor treatment, especially when it's your husband, especially when you have a kid together, and especially when some of the things he says is potentially really damning. Like, we all have a limit, and you can give your husband grace and you have empathy for his condition. But at some point, you need to be happy too. You're getting to a place, correct me if I'm wrong, where you're starting to wondering if what he's saying is true. Like, how much is true, because he keeps saying it. It's like the our drunk thoughts, honest thoughts, or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
like is he saying it? You know, maybe he's hurt, but like, what part of it is he also does he also believe it? You know, it's like sometimes we don't say things because we still believe it, but we don't say it because it's still mean. You know, it's just like, well, I'm not going to say that. You know, but deep down, maybe I believe it. And now I'm guessing it's starting to get into your head.
It's been hard because it's like been ongoing since she was born, really. Well, before that, but it got worse after she was born. And he just hasn't really made too much of an effort with her too. So then him treating me the way he's treating me and then treating her the way he's treating her.
How does he treat her?
Well, he won't like interact with her. So I get like coming home from work, being tired, you like worked all day, whatever. But like every day to come home, go straight into the bathroom and go sit in there and go shower, sit on your phone, and then sometimes smoke some weed and just sit in there. And he'll be in there for anywhere from an hour to 5 hours when he comes home, and then just go straight to bed. Other days it's just fine. He comes out, he'll sit with us, it'll be whatever, but he won't interact with her. He'll just sit and play on his phone. And I'm just like, well, what if most dads are like this? Do most dads just sit and play on their phone? I don't
mean,
really know.
I don't think so, or I don't. Not the good ones, you know. I
Well,
mean,
and then
listen,
about changing her diaper too. Like
Yeah.
he was weird about that. He was like, well, I don't want to change her diaper because it's like we're not like the same. And then like so he hasn't really changed any diapers or
That's
anything, which is
crazy.
like
That's crazy.
a man. I don't know if they normally do.
I changed a lot of diapers. Yeah. I change more diapers than Natalie. You know, she gives me the and I'm happy to do that. Natalie does so much that
Mhm.
you know I don't do, but I'm happy to do that. And that's just a weird thing to say. I mean, like, yeah, everyone deserves their privacy, but don't be fucking weird. It's your kid, and just change their diaper. You know, and so a lot of it is just built-in excuses. He's 22. The big question is like, what is he? He can recognize there's an issue.
Mhm.
Sounds like he does apologize sometimes. Like, what is he doing about it to change the behavior, if anything?
I mean, the past 2 weeks, he's kind of just been interacting with us more, and it just feels like because it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago where I told him, I was like, "I literally can't do this anymore, like, I'm not gonna sit here and suffer because you're miserable, and then you wanna make everybody else around you miserable and hurt." So he's just been, like, interacting more. I was like, I don't know if he's trying to, like, interact with us and be around us and be more pleasant because he cares, and he was like, "Oh, shit, like, she's gonna leave," or it's a temporary thing to get me to cool off so that I don't get to that point, even though I'm still, like, almost in that limbo that everybody talks about. It's like, what is it? Too good to leave or too bad, or I don't remember the saying, but
Well, the reality is like you're in a very difficult spot. I mean, you have a young child, you're married. This is not like leaving your situationship or your boyfriend of a year or even your fiance. It's a challenge for you, right? So like you would probably definitely not stay in this situation if some of those things weren't a reality. So I don't even think it's a matter of like not quite bad enough to leave, but you know, type whatever the saying is. I get what you're trying to
Yeah.
say, but I think the reality is like it's going to be. For you to leave it's a very scary thing.
and then it feels like, like breaking up the family unit, and then it's like, it feels like it's all my fault.
It's definitely not your fault.
I want her to have a whole thing, but it's like she doesn't deserve to watch us not like each other. And then part of me that feels like I'm really shut off to this now is I don't really feel anything towards him. I just do what I do, and then
Yeah.
he just does what he does, and he thinks that we're all fine. But I'm just sitting here thinking, I feel nothing. I feel numb. Like I'm just on autopilot right now.
But recently you have told him that it's not all fine, correct?
Mm-mm. Yeah, he understands that we're still trying to because we got in the arguments and stuff, and then we were gonna get divorced, and then we were like, okay, well, we're gonna work on it, but it's not for sure that we're gonna stay together.
What was the working on it part?
Him just like not sitting in the bathroom his entire day, like actually not sitting on his phone all day.
What does he do about his depression?
So he didn't really talk to his family for a long time, and he finally reconnected with them, which they had issues, so that was a hard thing. But he loves his dad so much, and he needed to start talking to his dad again for at least for him to make himself feel better. He started doing that, and that seemed to make him not feel as depressed. But then it's like, I don't really understand how someone's brain works how depressed, but he was just like, he'll be fine. And then he's just like, I just want to kill myself. And like, we'll say it in front of our daughter, and I'm like, she does not need to listen to this. I know she's a baby and doesn't understand, but she'll understand soon enough.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. More when I say like, is he in therapy? I mean, if he's
No, he went to therapy, but then he came back from therapy and told me that the therapist was out to get him and that she didn't like him. And this therapist also sees my mom sometimes, has seen me, and so he thinks that she's just like, because one time he when he went in there, she accused him, or not like directly accused him, but like was like, you can tell me like if you did something, like kind of almost like saying that if he cheated on me or something that he could tell her, which pretty sure he has never cheated on me. And
well, if he knows that you're seeing this therapist and your mom's seeing this therapist, I can see why he doesn't feel totally safe with this therapist.
well, that was him meeting me in the middle, was going to this therapist because he wouldn't find his own therapist. Like, so I was like, you need to go talk to somebody
Un-
about this. And he
yeah.
was like, no. And then he was seeing her and I stopped going to therapy because I was like, I'm fine. I don't need to go to therapy. I mean, I could, but I don't want to at this time. And then it was just all bad things. It was the therapist is this or that. But I understand what you're talking about.
It's great that you're communicating that you're fed up. That's hard enough to do. But it doesn't sound like he has the tools or the ability to, or you guys have the tools, the ability to fix this on your own. Like, what does that mean? You know, like I smoke weed, so it's like, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here, but like, I'm also not clinically depressed. I don't know how smoking weed affects someone who is actually depressed. I'm guessing not great. Probably doesn't help. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think it helps. I mean, maybe sometimes you might feel a short term, like it
Sure.
helps you in one day, but not like for the long term.
But the point is like if all you're doing is just hoping that he's going to wake up and be a different person someday, I don't think that's going to happen. You either have to like really sit him down and just say, hey, I really want to make this work. And he's got to be willing to want to do something. He's got to say, I want to fight for my family. I don't want to be this way. I'm sorry I do this to you. You know, you need to at least in the middle, in between these toxic times, it doesn't make what he says okay. But if he's not even like acknowledging what he's doing to the point where he doesn't want to be this person and he's willing to do something about it, then he's not giving you much to work with.
Yeah.
You're only 22. You have a lot of life ahead of you. You're going to be okay. And it probably doesn't feel this way right now, but he has got to give you a reason to have hope. And hope's already dangerous enough, but he's not giving you much. So I'm not telling you to leave or anything like that, but just make sure you know what you're fighting for. And make sure you,
Yeah.
if nothing else, do you feel like you have someone at least there who also wants to try to fix this? And what is he willing to do with you to fix it? Being off his phone a little bit less is not,
It's bare minimum. Not
also
even,
like,
honestly.
yeah, it's avoiding the triggering states where he says these really mean things to you and things that sit with you and things that are hard to hear. And the environment you feel like you're putting you and your daughter in is like, how do you avoid that? And does he recognize that that's a really ugly thing he's doing?
Well, now that's another thing too that he has said that was kind of screwed up because so he's like with his depression and stuff. He said, "Well, I said, why do you don't want you shouldn't say these things in front of her because you don't want her to feel the same way you're feeling, do you?" And then he was like, "Well, she's going to eventually because it's genetic." And I was like, I don't think it I mean, I feel like it's genetic to a point, but it's also environmental. So like if you're around a bunch of stuff that makes you depressed, you're going to be depressed,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she can't be. It's not like that was not
That's
right,
also like not the
honestly.
answer. I don't know. Like, yeah. It sounds like your husband has a lot of hurt and pain, and it sounds like he's been through a lot, and that's sad, and I empathize for him. But it's still not okay for how you're feeling, and maybe you need to take a step back. You know, if he's not, you know, maybe it's not a matter of like immediately, you know, maybe there's a separation. Maybe he just needs to like, hey, you really need to go get help, and until you do, I don't know if I can have you around me and our daughter.
Yeah,
You know, do you have a good support system
I
outside of
do. I
him?
have a lot of people around me. That's the other thing for him is I have all this great support on my end, but his end is not. Maybe his dad a little bit, but he's not that comfortable with him yet because he's not comfortable with the rest of his family. And then that's like another issue that we have is he always feels like lots of people like hate him, and it feels like he digs too deep into a conversation. Like, when you go and you have a conversation with somebody, you go back and you think about it and you're like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said this or I should have said this." Well, he does that, but we're like, "Well, when they said this," and then he gets all angry and said they hate me or they're angry at me or this or that, and then he feels like everybody hates him, and like he feels like my family hates him, and he feels like they make him uncomfortable. And then I try to talk about it to him about it, and I don't really get much answers other than they make me uncomfortable, but like why? And then he doesn't say.
Yeah, I don't have all the answers to how to fix your husband. All I can do is validate you in the fact that like this isn't okay. It can't continue. You're not wrong for considering what you're considering. Something's got to change.
Mhm.
You two, and specifically him, have to make some meaningful actions. Relationships are really hard, right? Even the good ones go through some bad periods. But I think for the people who are able to get through really dark times in relationships, it's because they still, like, no matter how bad it is, it's like we fight, we've both hurt each other, they lied to me. They still feel like that person feels real regret and sorrow. They want to work on it. Sometimes that regret and sorrow and I want to work on it is maybe that doesn't always fix it. Like sometimes it could be disingenuous, but you need at least that. You need I really don't want to be this way. I really am sorry. I do, what can I do? What can we do? Because and a lot of times people don't follow through with that, but that's the bare minimum, is feeling like the person on the other side wants to fight with you to make this thing work. And if the
Mhm.
other person is not even in the fight, if they're checked out, if they're just like if they're too incapable because maybe they have so much pain on the inside to even consider how you're feeling, that is a really hard place to start from. And I
Mhm.
just don't want to see you wait around too much longer for something that just like can't get fixed.
Just to hope that it gets better.
Just to hope that it gets better. But if he's refusing any kind of help, and I'm not saying therapy is the end all be all, but he's got to be willing to
Mhm.
do something. He's got to be willing to try to fix this, right? To have okay, fine, people hate me, I'm feeling sad, but what can I do? How do I get out of this? And again, I don't know how to deal with clinical depression. I'm not a psychologist, but like,
Mhm.
I also don't think it's your cross to bear forever. And there is a limit to the environment you should be putting yourself and your daughter in.
Well, I feel like if it was just us, I'd be like, I don't really believe in divorce, but like, if you're gonna keep treating me like this, like, I'm just gonna leave. And it's just
Yeah.
almost simpler. But since it's her, like, even just talking about if when he would have her, since he never really like puts her to bed or bathes her or feeds her, like anything is all up to me. And I also still work a full-time job too. So I feel a little unfair because we both work and sometimes most of the time he works less hours than I do. If I want to go out and do something, I can't just leave her with him. I take her to my parents' house because he doesn't want to watch her. And so it's just like, it feels like this is very unfair or like for me and for her if he doesn't want to actually put in any effort.
It's not fair, and
But then there's the other voice in my head that's like, well, you're a mom, so you have to take care of everything
he's a
anyways.
dad, like there's a lot of dads who do their part, or at least try,
Mhm.
and he's not. But he's suffering. I have empathy for him, but it doesn't make
And
it okay.
that's where I feel because I am very empathetic towards him too, and I feel I was just someone like if you're hurting, I'm hurting for you, and it makes me feel sad for him, and I try to be there as much as I can because it's like
I
I see his pain.
Yeah, I think you can have empathy for someone and it doesn't mean that it requires an excuse for their behavior.
Mhm.
So you can have empathy for them. The difference between having empathy and not having empathy for your husband, for example, or anyone in these situations, is to give up on them and just like call them a monster or a psychopath or just a terrible person. The empathy is to like understand that like while they're doing bad things, they have trauma and there's a reason that it isn't just as simple as they're a bad person. But that doesn't
Yeah.
excuse the behavior, and it doesn't mean you have to put up with it. So don't confuse your empathy for your husband with a feeling of like this is your cross to bear, or that no matter what, you have to put up with this, or that it makes it okay for him to say what he says to you. It's not. He has to find the moments to like say, Like if he has no moment of clarity where he doesn't want to treat his wife or child this way, I don't know what hope there is. There's got to be that. He's got to say,
Well, he says he wants to be better. He wants to do these things, but then no follow through with
well,
it.
then you say you got to do more than just want it. I have to see it from you. You got to do something about it. You have to keep reminding him it gently as I can't keep doing this. And if all you're going to do is say you don't want to be this way, maybe it's couples therapies together. Maybe he needs to hear, and maybe it's not the same therapist that you go to. It's got to be a neutral party, but he has to get to a place where, he can't be making excuses for why he does what he does or doesn't do what he does. The fact that he has a daughter and he's like, how change the diaper, help out. And if it's not changing the diaper, give a bath. I got this. Go take a break. Go relax. Just the consideration.
That way, it's the simple. That's the hard thing. Is like it sounds dumb, but it's like the stupidest thing is just changing a diaper would feel so nice to me in my head because like you care and you want to do this.
And he's not even doing
and
that.
then he like always wants praise when he does things that he's not supposed to do. Like if he cleans the kitchen or does the dishes.
What do you mean not supposed to do? Like where did it?
Well, in his brain, that's my job.
That's crazy.
And I mean, I get it because I mean, that's kind of how we are because like the women does all the cleaning and whatnot.
In what era? Like it's 2026. Like I don't like.
This is true.
You're sounding like it's 1950.
I know.
You guys have a household. The job's done when the job's done. Everyone needs to help. It's everyone's job. I mean, it just is. When you have a kid together, everyone, it's everyone's job. There's no, this is your job. This is my job. You work. If this is 1950, why aren't you staying home constantly with nothing to do but clean the kitchen? That's crazy, and you have to you can't accept that as an answer. You kind of, like that's crazy.
Well, the other thing that scares me is like I've been with him since I've been 15, and I know it's a valid fear, but it's not like I'm also still so young. But it's just like I've only known being with him, and like I've only ever been with him like physically and emotionally and stuff, and so that really just is another thing that just scares me.
Totally.
Even though I'm still young.
You are young, but you do have a support system, and like so many people in your position don't. They're really alone, and the fact that you're not, you're lucky that way. So like you're in a tough spot, but thankfully you feel good about the support system you have. If you decide to leave him, definitely take a break. I wouldn't get back out there right away. Just take care of your mental health. Focus on your daughter. Get yourself in a healthy situation. But breakups are hard and like it's scary and like it's going to be nerve-wracking for you to move on for sure. But like it's better than like right now this is torture. This is an emotional torture that's not fair. And sometimes relationships have to go through these difficult times, but if he has to give you some hope. He has to acknowledge that this is not it's not okay to think this way, to act this way, to be this way. And he has to want to do something about it. And if you're spending time arguing with him about his role, about doing diapers and dishes, and then he's saying mean things to you, it's like, come on.
Yeah. I just feel like I've just gotten used to just accepting the bare minimum because I don't know
well,
that feels like.
But it's like, you called in, right? You had the guts to call in, but you know what I'm saying? You don't know what good might feel like, but this isn't okay.
Well, and what you're saying too is like my sister and my friends have said that. Like some of my friends wanted to just like come over here and just beat him, and I'm like, girl, no.
Well, what they really want is you to be okay, and they want you to like expect more for yourself, and just again, you don't know what better looks like because you've never had it, but this isn't okay, and even if it's just the peace of mind to not have to be belittled every day, to not have to wonder, why this person doesn't give a shit enough to even change a diaper. It's defeating,
Yeah.
Even if
he
didn't.
just left for work for a couple of days. He was gone for over a week, and it was just me and her. And I kind of felt guilty because it felt so peaceful, and I wasn't having to worry about anything else except for us. And like he didn't really message me or try to call me while he was gone. I think he called me once, and I probably got maybe 5 text messages, and he was gone for over a week. And I didn't bother to reach out to him because I was like, I'm just gonna enjoy this time and see how I feel, because it's almost like in my brain it was like a mini test of like how I would be if I'm by myself. And I felt so guilty because it felt so much. It's just felt fine. It felt okay to be like that.
Yeah, that should tell you something. Yeah.
And I think I know in my gut, it's just hard.
It is hard, yeah. No, it's a tough spot. Take your time. I mean, like, you don't have to rush to a decision, but listen to yourself. And that hearing you say that out loud should tell you something.
Yeah. Well, I haven't said it out loud to, like, my friends or stuff because, like, then they're, like, pressuring me to leave, like, my sister already is doing that, but I'm like, "I'm not listening to you, I'm trying to figure it out, like, seeing if he can be better and work it out somehow. Because I don't like to try to listen to other people even though it's like
What
they'll
it
play a role no matter
but
what."
but what is the somehow is the question, right? How is he gonna do it? Because right now, you are just banking on somehow, and somehow when you say it out loud, it's just like, it tells you that deep down, it's like I think you very much doubt his willingness to make the necessary changes.
Yeah. Well, because then one of the times so we were talking about, like, trying to figure this out and whatnot. He was like, "Well, we need to figure out if you're gonna stay or if you're gonna go, because if you go, I'm just gonna leave and I am gonna just try to have to figure out a whole new life." Like, he's just gonna up and dip and just, like, not even be in our daughter's life. And then so that was another thing that was like, "Okay, is this a cherry on top of just, like, what is going
Well,
on?"
you can't make him wanna be a father to his daughter, whether you're together or not.
Yeah,
And again,
I'm
like,
having to realize that.
that's kind of a shitty for thing to say. It's kind of like a threat, right? But at the end of the day, if he doesn't want to be a good father or be a present father or be in his daughter's life, he's not going
Mhm,
to, and that's his decision. It's not your responsibility to make him a father for your kid. You
mhm.
can encourage him. Natalie encourages me. I encourage, like she's just an amazing mother. But like there are times where like, Natalie has a complicated relationship with her dad. So like she's very mindful of how present I am with River, and she's just very, it's very important for her for her daughter to have a positive relationship with her dad, which is me.
Yeah.
And obviously, I really want to be a good father, and I'm very present. But like I listen, when Natalie checks in with me and she gives me a nudge, and sometimes it can be frustrating, but I know it comes from a good place,
Mhm.
And right now he's just it's you know what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I want to be a good dad, and he has to want to be a good dad. You
It
can't make
almost feels
him
like he wants to be a good dad, like he wants to do the other things to make the relationship better with the
say
no follow through on the back end.
say that again? What do you mean?
Where he says he wants to do things, like you wanna be a better husband, you wanna be a better dad, but no follow through to, like, do the steps to actually do the thing.
But that's the thing, like, I wanna be a good father, and I am, like, I show up and I check myself, especially now that Natalie's pregnant. I can't carry 2 babies. I'm not the one whose stomach is growing really fast. I can jump out of bed when River gets up in the middle of the night. I can change her diaper. I can help out. I can all the things I know that are difficult for Natalie right now, I make sure I'm doing because I can and I want to, and it's helpful. That doesn't also mean
Mhm.
I'm perfect, right? Even though I'm doing all
Yeah.
those things, I can still like get notes from my wife and have or advice or just words of encouragement. And even though I do all those things, I want to listen to her because I know it comes from a good place. Saying you want to be a good dad, what does that mean? He's also saying he's going to abandon you if you leave him. Like if he's going to abandon his daughter if you step out of, if you leave the marriage. He says
Mhm.
some cruel and nasty things, and you're just begging him to stop, and you're asking him to make changes, but he's not doing anything. He's not even doing the bare minimum.
Yeah.
You're not responsible for how he shows up as a father. It's not your job to make him want to be a good dad. It's, you can help
Mhm.
him, you can give advice, but it ultimately comes down to him to want to do it. If he doesn't want to do it, he's not going to do it. He's got to want to help himself. You can have empathy for his past or why he is the way he is, but it's not an excuse for how he treats you. And you are young. As difficult as it is, you have a lot of life in front of you, and you can change things around pretty drastically. And don't be afraid to listen to your support system, and just be glad that you have that support system, and lean on them when in this time. Your daughter's going to be okay because she has you, and hopefully he figures shit out. It might take a while. There's unfortunately, a lot of parents, especially dads out there who, at this stage in their life right now, unfortunately, your daughter might be a teenager or adult before he comes around, but maybe he'll come around then.
Well, I get that too, because growing up with my dad, he wasn't around for an entire childhood because he was a really bad alcoholic, and then
Yeah.
he almost died. They were like, "You need to stop drinking or you're gonna die." And then so that didn't happen till we were about, like, 15, 16, and then he got sober and then got better, and then we didn't really know him until we were older, like, probably 16, 17, when he
Yeah.
wasn't an alcoholic, and then that makes me worry for her because it's like I went through that, and I mean, I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty have a good head on my shoulders, and so this doesn't really affect me too badly, but I just worry for her.
We always worry for our kids, but you are okay. And we all come with baggage and scars. And, you can only do so much to protect your kids, but she does have you and she is lucky and she's going to be okay. She won't be perfect. No one is.
I have been like praying about this so much, and I don't know if this was just me being delusional, but the morning I prayed, I was like, "What do I do?" And I'm just like, I am at my wit's end. I'm like, is like divorce an option? And there was a freaking earthquake, and I was like, and then I'm on course on Google, like, what does this mean? And it's like, oh, this could just be nothing, or it's like this is a pressure breaking and blah blah blah. And I was just like spiraling about it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so silly.
Well, it's not silly. I mean, you're in a really tough spot. It's a big decision. It's not easy. It's not fair that you have to consider leaving a marriage that you never planned on leaving, and you're fighting this fight by yourself. And you have a kid, a young daughter who needs you. You have a husband who's mentally unwell, who you have to try to take care of, while he's also not nice. I mean, it's a really tough spot you're in. So give yourself some grace. But instead of Googling what does an earthquake mean in terms of is God speaking to me? Trust your instincts, trust your gut, but also allow your support system to help you out.
In the beginning, I was like, I will never move in with my parents because when you move in with your parents, I feel like you pay with your mental health, not with money.
Well, it depends on who your parents are, but
And my parents, they're very nice, but just I feel like after being around them for a while, it's like, okay, I've had enough.
well, then maybe there's other options. But right now, I mean, you just got to get yourself out of this rut somehow.
I've been stuck here since February. And
Yeah.
so it's just how much longer do I sit here or do I need to take an action? Because I've seen lots of people around me that are miserable. And then it's these people that just stay in relationships just because it's easier or just for the kids. And I'm like, I'm young enough where it's I need to do something. We need to fix this or I need to go because I can't I don't want to be miserable for the rest of my life.
Yeah. And in your situation, doesn't sound like being in this relationship is easier. Having him gone you're happier.
I just feel so guilty because it's I love him and care for him, but his problems are my problems now, and even though they shouldn't be.
You care about him as a person. You've known him for a long time. That's normal. You're a human
Mhm.
being, but it doesn't make it okay how he's treating you and how you're made to feel. And you're right.
Yeah.
You deserve better. God knows you're trying. You're not quitting. If you choose to move on, this isn't you quitting. It's doing what you have to do to survive, literally. It's giving you and your daughter a better life because he's not willing to try, and he's got to be willing to try.
Yeah. Well, and I want to give her the best life possible, and it's I even told him that this might just sound silly, but I was eventually I want to buy a house and have a property for us to just live on and just have some land for ourselves. And then you told me if you want that, you need to be with somebody else that will give that to you. And I was like, do you don't want to work for it with me or? And it was no. I'm okay.
Yeah.
He just wants the bare minimum for our lives. He doesn't really care to do anything more.
Listen, it sounds like he's in a really bad place. This is deeper than my level of expertise, but the fact that he is depressed, it's not shocking that he doesn't have a lot of reasons to hope, or he's giving up on himself, or he's hurting inside, but it's not an excuse. And again, you can have empathy for him, but it doesn't mean you have to accept this for yourself.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be a bad guy for you to realize that this is a bad situation for you. You've tried and you are trying, and I'm guessing you'll continue to try for a period of time, but at some point you have to give yourself permission and the grace to say enough is enough.
Yeah.
And you will give your daughter the life that she'll be okay. She has you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's what I've been told over and over by literally anybody that I've talked to my situation about, which is just close people.
Yeah.
Because they know how much I care for her. And I've said, no matter what happens with this relationship, I have no regret because of her. She is the best thing ever. And she has made me the happiest. And I feel I was meant to be a mom, and I just love her so much.
That's amazing, right? So that's a beautiful thing. Lean into that. Remember that, and give her what she needs. It's time to stop making him the top priority and focusing on what he needs. You've tried that. You need to focus on yourself and her, and hopefully he recognizes that he doesn't want to lose this, but that's his decision. You can encourage him to get the help that you think he needs. He ultimately has to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sorry you're going through this. It sucks. Try to focus on the positive as hard as it is.
Yeah. I also want to say, I think it's so fun that Natalie's pregnant with twins because I'm a twin
Oh,
myself.
are you? Okay.
Uh-huh. We're fraternal twins, but like
We're having fraternal
we're
twins. Is it? Do you have a sister or?
yeah, we're
Okay.
twin
Yeah.
sisters.
Okay.
And it's so fun because we were always like with each other, and then of course we have a younger sister. She's only like 5 years younger than us, but we would always be ganging up on her.
And are you guys close despite being fraternal? Like,
Yeah, we are.
Do you guys look alike?
I look more like my younger sister than I do my twin, which
That's
is
funny.
weird.
We can see them in the ultrasounds. They look different, and I think one looks like River and one looks not like River. So
I heard you guys talking about the noses.
yeah,
It's like
they-
one's big and Natalie's like, what?
I mean, it's an ultrasound, so
Yeah, I know. It's funny though.
well, thanks for calling. I'm sorry you're going through this. Lean on your sister. You know, that's a beautiful thing, right? You have your twin. You have someone who's like you shared an entire life with. Like in these difficult times, it's going to be really hard for you to think clearly or know what's best for yourself. Allow your support system to help you do what's best for you, because sometimes it might feel like you don't know what to do, and that's normal, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Well, take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Guys, fresh breath, it's really important. It's super important. Bad breath. Honestly, it's one of my biggest icks. And I have turned to NeuroGum to make sure my breath is always on point. NeuroGum and mints are functional, portable products designed to enhance energy, focus, and mental clarity. It's powered by natural caffeine, L-theanine, and calm focus, and vitamin B12 plus B6. Not only do you get great breath, you get a little boost in your day without getting so much sugar. There's no sugar, no aspartame, and no crash. When you're chewing other gum, you're just chewing. With NeuroGum, you're chewing for clean, sustained energy and sharper focus. I start every podcast with a Neuro Mint. It makes me feel energized, focused, ready to go. Plus, I just have great, fresh breath. There's nothing like stanky, stale breath that will really just ruin your mood and honestly, the mood of people around you. So stop having bad breath. Get more clear, focused energy. You know, it's amazing how much sugar you're taking with most gums. And it's like, you know, as someone who's always conscious about the sugar I'm putting in my body, I was thinking about how much sugar I was getting by just chewing gum. Well, not anymore, thanks to Neuro Gum and Mints. Neuro's memory and focus gum are made with American ginseng. It supports mental clarity minus the jitters. Also, Neuro's sleep and recharge mints offer melatonin and chamomile to help you unwind and rest without pills or sugary gummies. Again, I was chewing gum at night and putting a bunch of sugar in my body I didn't need, which affected my sleep. Now, with Neuro's sleep and recharge mints, I end my day calm with fresh breath, and it helps just enhance my sleep a little better. For a limited time, you can get 20% off your first order at neurogum.com by using code VIALL. That is neurogum.com, and use code VIALL for 20% off your first order. You can also find Neuro at CVS, Walmart, and Amazon. A lot of people assume strength, energy, and resilience are all about discipline or hard work. But the older I get, the more I realize so much of it starts at the cellular level. Every workout, long day, body recovery, and bounce back, it all depends on energy. And that energy comes from your mitochondria, the power source inside your cells. That's what made Timeline so interesting to me. Most people focus on protein and training hard to build muscle and performance, but supporting the cells behind your energy production is just as important. And the reality is, mitochondrial function naturally declines as we age, which can affect energy, recovery, endurance, and muscle strength over time. So, Timeline developed MitoPure, a supplement that helps your body remove damaged mitochondria and helps your cells produce energy more efficiently. Muscle health isn't just about building size, it's about supporting strength, movement, recovery, and long-time resilience. And since muscle cells require a ton of energy, supporting mitochondrial health can play a huge role in how your body performs and recovers over time. Timeline has spent over 15 years researching mitochondrial health, invested over $50 million into research, and conducted multiple human clinical trials. And in one study, participants experienced a 12% improvement in muscle strength in 4 months. No change in exercise. Honestly, I have less and less time to work out these days, as busy as I am, and so anything helps. And Timeline has been really good for me. Again, as I hate saying, I'm getting older. I hate admitting it, but that is a reality of life. and I've been using Timeline to make sure that my body is recovering as it needs to. Every bit helps, and Timeline is by my side as I get older. What I like about Timeline is that it's focused on foundational health instead of quick fixes. It's about supporting your energy and strength from the inside out, which feels more important the busier life becomes. It's always looking for ways to support long-term health, recovery, and resilience. And this has been a really smart addition to my routine. Timeline's clinically proven formula is now available at a new, lower price. MitoPure now starts at $79 when you go to timeline.com/VIALL. Again, that's timeline.com/VIALL.
I feel like consistency can be so hard when your routine feels too complicated or expensive to maintain. That's why I've been loving Naturium. They make skincare that feels luxurious and high-end, but with affordable prices. Naturium formulas are clinically effective, skin-friendly, and affordable enough to use every day, and they make it really simple to find products and ingredients that work for you. I've been loving their Glow Getter Body Butter. I literally just bought another one at Target today because I needed some here at the lake. It is so luxurious and thick. I'm putting it on my stomach right now to help, obviously, with my growing belly. And you just feel hydrated. You feel good when you put it on. The whole experience feels elevated with high quality packaging and products, which makes your everyday routine feel luxurious without the luxury markup. Naturium is all about making great skincare accessible for everyone, everywhere, every day. They even have a consistency club where you can earn points and rewards just for sticking to your routine. Even your empty bottles earn points. Give your skin the affordable, luxurious glow it deserves. Go to naturium.com/VIALL for 10% off your first purchase today. That's naturium.com/VIALL.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your name?
My name is Victoria, and I am 24 years old.
How can I help, Victoria?
Okay, so my 40-year-old married coworker is hitting on me. How do I set a boundary and not make it uncomfortable?
Okay. So, you're like, to be clear, you're not like interested. You don't like this that he's doing.
I do not.
Okay.
No.
How big is this company?
It's a school, a public middle school.
It's a public middle school.
Yeah.
Do they have HR, or do they have like I'm assuming on the first day on the job, they played a video, what to do in these situations. I don't know. Like,
no, they definitely did. Now, did I pay attention to that?
okay.
Not necessarily. I joined the school year kind of abruptly. So you kind of have to go through all those videos and do all that kind of stuff. But it was in the middle of the semester. So I guess I didn't really take my time to sit down and watch all of those. But I know we for sure have an HR.
Okay. Do you know who that person is?
Yes, I do. Like, I can get in contact with them if I need to, but I don't know their name. It's just like an overall HR email.
How long have you been there? It sounds like you haven't been at the school for a long time. Is that part of your nerves?
Yeah, no, not at all. The school year started August of 2025, and I joined October of 2025.
Okay, see, it's not like that new.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming you have like friends there, or have you made? No, you don't, like, no one.
No, this was the first person I sort of met, and I guess we kind of bonded or connected, or at least sparked a conversation. But I don't have any friends there. I don't really know anyone. I still feel like a newbie, even though I'm not really a newbie.
Okay. Is that because like is all the other teachers older, or you just no one you really have anything in common with, or?
I honestly don't know. I don't know if it's a me issue or I just haven't really connected with anyone. I feel like I'm trying to, and I'm trying to make friends there, but nothing's really landed other than with the married man.
So it started kind of harmless, and he was nice to you, and you're like,
Totally.
oh, someone's talking to me.
100%.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's it's mostly, I mean, obviously men and women teachers, they both exist, but I'm assuming it's at least a little slanted towards women.
I would say so. I don't know for sure, but I definitely think I see more women around than men.
Is this elementary, middle school, high school?
Middle school, so just 7th and 8th grade.
How many teachers work there?
Oh, probably around 40.
Okay. What do you teach?
I teach theater.
Okay.
I'm a drama teacher. Yeah.
Okay. So like, you haven't met anyone that you've kind of.
No. So drama is new to the school, theater is new to the school. I'm fresh out of college. This is my first like job
Sure.
because
Yeah.
I've worked
Yeah.
throughout college and high school and all that. But so basically I saw it online. I was in the middle of my student teaching. I applied, interviewed, got the job. I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. Like I haven't even graduated yet and I'm already starting my career. I felt very accomplished, right? And this is new to the school, new to the students. They've never had a theater department before. So I'm essentially building it from the ground up. Like they don't have any set, any costumes, props, nothing, anything to make a theater department.
That's a lot of hard work. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of hard work. But yeah, basically, I just met him in the copy room one day, and I am not skilled when it comes to like stagecraft or carpentry or building things, anything like that. Like, I took a couple stagecraft classes in college, but he told me, hey, I actually did short films and carpentry stuff for our state for films. And I was like, no way, because like I can't do any of that. He was like, anything you need, let me know. So that's kind of how
sure
that door opened. So yeah, totally harmless, totally innocent, and then it just kind of progressed.
Well,
from
so
there.
you thought.
Yeah, true.
And so you're expected to build all this stuff? You don't like they're just
No, definitely not. They're not really. They just want the kids to have this, and I want the kids to have this. But I think I want it to be like that. Like I want a production. I want to play. I started an after-school program for the school so the students could put on an actual play. There are other teachers who have their after-school programs, and we have to go and wait for the kids to get picked up. And so I'm trying to connect with other teachers and trying to form these bonds, and it's just nothing is landing.
Are there women your age, give or take a few years? There are. Okay, so it's not like it's a bunch of 50-year-old women and you.
No, I mean there are 50-year-old women in me, but
I'm
like,
sure, but
yeah,
like
of all age ranges. It's a variety for sure. The diversity there is, as far as teachers go, is great.
Do you remember like an occasion where like? Anyways, the reason why I'm asking this, and I'm sure you get it, it's just like I empathize because like this idea that you have the only connection you've made is this 40-year-old married man,
right?
Where it started seemingly harmless, like he was being friendly and being nice, only for him to start making uncomfortable passes at you, and you have like no allies or friends at this workplace, and then it's easy for me to say, well, go to HR and say that, but I imagine that comes with a lot of anxiety and fear. And
totally.
Right.
And I don't know. And that's also, I guess, a question I have is I don't know. I don't think it's gotten to that point where I have to, but it also I've never experienced this before. I don't know.
Like do you remember, like, what's the most uncomfortable situation you felt like he put you in?
There's been a couple, but I feel like the big one where I was like, oh no, he for sure is hitting on me. He for sure is flirting with me, is he would ask to like hang out at school. He'd be like, oh, come to my classroom. We'll do this and that and watch movies and talk to one another. And I've always said, no. Like I have this, like I've just kind of avoided that because I did know that he was married. And then over spring break, which was recently, he had messaged me about wanting to go to a spring training game together. And I was like, oh, like, are you getting a work group together? Like, is this like a thing, like a coworker outing? And he was like, no, I have an extra ticket. And in my head, I just was like, why don't you take your wife? So that made me really uncomfortable. And I said no to that. That was probably the biggest one. And then, he notices when my car is there super late, which just also kind of just raises red flags. Yeah. Kind of crosses that line a little bit for me. I'm like, why do you care if I'm here? Why are you noticing my car is here? Also, my car is the only one here late because I have the play. Like I'm doing the after school play. So that kind of.
What's he doing other than watching?
That's what I'm saying. I have no idea. You don't have an after school program.
What were you hoping I would help you out with here? I guess what, like, in your mind, I don't mean to pass this off because, like, again, like, no. I think the obvious answer is, like, if it gets to a certain point where you start feeling unsafe, you need to speak up and say something about this. But I do want to recognize that, like, that's easy for me to say and much harder from an execution standpoint. And unfortunately, too many women have been made to feel the consequences of speaking up and standing up for themselves, especially in a workplace, for fear of retaliation. Chances are he knows more people, he has more friends. no one knows you. It's harder to give the benefit of a doubt to the stranger. You know, it can be scary, right? So I'm curious, like, what do you feel like your options are given your current situation?
Giving my current situation, I do feel like I have set a boundary in place. I think I was looking at in this current moment talking to you, I think I was looking to see if I was actually seeing red flags or if I was overthinking it. When I had initially emailed in, I was questioning how do I set this boundary? And now I'm like, okay, now I'm just sitting here spiraling and overthinking. I'm like, okay, am I validating the situation? Was it as do what do where do I go from here? I guess how do I phrase it? Am I vindicated or validated? Was I feeling the right things? Were the red flags raised for the right reason? Or is this totally innocent and I'm overthinking it?
You're not overthinking it for sure. Yeah, I mean, they're valid. The question is, like, to me, it's like the question is, how much of a concern is he, right? Is this a guy who's like a little lonely? Clearly, well, let's assume he's unhappy in his marriage and he befriended you and he's made some inappropriate passes, but is he going to get the clue that you're not interested and ultimately just not be a threat to you or not, you know, like, or is he just going to keep pushing?
Correct.
But where do you think you're at on that, like, kind of scale?
Every time I think it's done and I'm like, he's not going to message me anymore. He's not going to say anything anymore. Something else pops up or he does find a way to contact me again. So I'm not sure. He could it's been a couple of days. He could let it lie for a couple of days or he could come back next week or I could never hear from him again.
Do you always respond?
Yes.
Stop responding.
Okay. Like completely.
If it doesn't require a response, and by require, I mean like work.
Right.
You know, that inviting you to after the game, you thought, oh, maybe it's like a group event. So like that made sense that you inquired more. If it's just like, if it's just if it feels really random and unnecessary, don't respond. If it if it has nothing to do with work, I feel like don't respond. I think you always responding allows him to convince himself, well, at least she's responding. And I'm guessing you're probably trying to be polite. And so,
yeah,
like, is there anything, you know, when you go back and read those messages, if you're him, if you're looking for a way to justify continuing to reach out, could he read those messages as not right now as opposed to never? You're like,
definitely.
Like, could he convince himself that you're playing hard to get?
Probably. Because the amount of times that he has said like, oh, like come to my room after work or are you going to be here over spring break? If you're here, like, let's get together. And I'm like, oh, like I have things to do maybe another time.
Yeah. I honestly just think stop replying to that stuff. And definitely stop saying another time.
Yeah.
And I think when you do that, I would just be, I don't want to say on high alert, but like I think first of all, find out who your HR person is.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe just even strike up a rapport casually. Just like get more information. Maybe we're not at the time where you have to do that yet, but like I think just in case, right? Because like I guess there's always a chance you could stop replying and he could, like, I don't know, I don't want to scare you, but like maybe like approach you and corner you and just be like, why haven't you respond? I don't know, like.
Yeah, and I mean I don't think I don't think he would, but you never know.
You never know, and I think
if I am there late and I'm the only person there, and I am a girl, like I don't want to.
Yeah, you should be prepared. So you should just know. In the meantime, I would just stop replying to things that you don't need to reply. Stop worrying about being rude.
Okay. And that is a big fear of mine too, because like I said, this is the only person I've really talked to at this job and formed some sort of a connection with.
Have you tried?
I'm like, I don't want to be mean.
Have you tried, like, when you're trying to talk to other women teachers, are they like ignoring you? Or are they like, what is,
no.
It's just not vibing or what?
It's just not vibing. It's just not clear. I don't know what it is. I've always wanted to be a teacher. It's always been my passion. And I guess I sort of romanticize the idea of like, oh, I'm going to meet this young group of girl teachers and we're all going to go out for drinks afterwards and talk about the kids and talk about, all this stuff. And I feel like maybe I'm trying too hard. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like the conversations are too forced because I'm forcing myself to have them and it's rubbing them the wrong way.
Maybe, but like, I don't know. Like, you're new and you're trying to get to know people. Like that's
Right.
what are you supposed to do?
Exactly.
Maybe this isn't your forever job. There's that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you are trying to make friends, so I don't really have any notes for you on that.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, just stop replying and stop saying maybe in the future. And it's like, I feel like there's so many women listening to this who completely relate to what you're going through, sadly. And I've heard enough of these stories to understand that, like, yeah, part of being polite is to protect yourself and to not trigger a guy into feeling like, but I think it's okay for you not to reply. You don't have to be rude. You can just not reply. And if he sends you a text, oh, you don't want to reply, you could still not reply, or you could just be like, sorry, really busy. Just really short, just really like, stop being friendly. Don't ask for his help anymore.
Yeah, and that's also another thing is he did a big thing. The whole reason why we kept connecting is he built a lot of things for the school play that I'm putting on. I constantly asked, can I help you? Is there a way I can reimburse you for this? You're taking the time out of he was building them on the weekends, out of your weekend, your free time, when this is time that could be spent with your wife, and you're building things for me for free.
Yeah.
And with theater, I have to give him like a shout out in like our program and stuff, or I don't know if I have to, but I'm going to
give him a shout out. Yeah.
And then if he comes to the play and tries to talk, or do I engage in that? Is that,
again, in a public environment, you can be friendly, you can be polite. You should definitely go out of your way to avoid being alone.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's unfortunate, like this tricky situation where he did a nice thing for you. Nothing's free in this world. Clearly, he wanted something from it, and you have to do this kind of tightrope walk of not responding and hope that he doesn't feel like, well, I did all this for you, and you give him a shout out.
Yeah.
Again, like this is not like this is a professional atmosphere, and I'm glad he stepped up and helped a fellow teacher. And yes, by all means, give him the shout out. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for building such wonderful designs for the kids. You did it for the kids. He didn't do it for you. Give him his flowers to the public, but yeah, you don't owe him anything. But yeah, be professional but be polite, but be professional. And if he's texting you unprofessional things, you don't need to respond.
Yeah.
And I think the hope is he will get that. I don't know if he will, but that's the hope. I don't know if I'm in a position to like give you this advice, but like the question you have to ask yourself is, does it make sense to give him a chance to say, hey, listen, I'm sure you mean well, but like, this doesn't feel appropriate, hanging out with you like a friend, like you're married, or or are you better off going straight to the HR? I don't have that answer. I bet there are people who professionals, like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because like,
yeah,
it would be before you do the thing where you kind of tell on him, would you give him the opportunity to say, just if it hasn't been clear already, I just like, listen, I appreciate all your help. I really do. But like and whether you meant it or not, like some of the interactions make me like feel like it's crossing, going beyond a professional relationship. And I, just could you be mindful of that? And I'd love that to just stop. But that's honestly the biggest question you might need to ask yourself is like, is the next step going to HR, or is it giving him the opportunity one more time? But before you decide on that, I would probably check in with someone who, like, maybe, I don't know, someone in HR or a friend. There's probably some like, hey, honestly, Chat GPT, like,
it's the best.
What might have, like, I don't think it's the best for everything, but there's probably some like HR, what to do in these situation guidances you might be able to get, just like standard HR policy that might give you some perspective, just from like, oh, I didn't consider that could happen. But like, I think you are better off if you know someone who is actually in this field or has a perspective, they might be helpful. But to me, that sounds like the next big decision you have to make if not responding to him doesn't do the trick.
So that's kind of where I'm at today. Is the last time we engaged, he had messaged me about my car being there, and I didn't answer because I was at the point of, I'm just not going to acknowledge this guy anymore. I'm not going to communicate with him anymore if it's not work related. I made that decision. I had not communicated that to him. And then a few hours later, he messaged me back and had said, I don't know what's going on. We were so cool and now you're not answering. Like, what? I'm your coworker and I deserve an explanation. He told me he deserves an explanation, or he feels like he deserves an explanation.
Yikes.
And I just said, look, yeah. And I just said, I appreciate I basically said what you said. I said, I appreciate everything you've done to help with the show. Going forward, I don't want to, I don't remember word for word or verbatim what I said, but I said, going forward, I don't wish to communicate if it's not work related.
Okay.
And he said, Victoria, I'm so lost. I don't get it, but okay, I'll take this as we don't communicate anymore. And I just didn't answer. And that's been that.
That's the last time you've had interactions?
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that?
That was on Monday or Tuesday, and it's Friday. So 2-3 days ago. 3-4 days ago.
Definitely find out who your HR person is, because like then so you've done the thing that, so you've already done that.
Yeah. So if he reaches out again, I think then I would need to take the next step. But I did put that boundary in place because I felt like I had to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess next step would be to contact HR.
Any reasonable guy, like if let's try to give him some grace and benefit of the doubt if for possible.
Definitely.
Let's assume.
And I feel like I've been doing that too much.
You definitely have. You definitely have. I don't. But to be clear, I don't think he deserves it. But let's just, for the sake of a thought exercise, we give him a lot of grace. He's unhappy.
My peace of mind.
He's unhappy in his marriage. I don't know. But we all as human beings have tough moments, and when we have tough moments and when we're not happy, we get sloppy or make poor decisions, and our conscience is cloudy and yada yada yada, right? So up until this point, if we really tried, maybe we could just try to give him some grace. But here you finally did the thing, you did the uncomfortable thing where you tried as politely as possible but as direct as possible to set a boundary with him. And any reasonable guy who is married, who has like a lot to lose, their reputation, their job, all these things, that should be the wake up call that he needs. Mm-hmm. Right. And if he doesn't, and if this is not enough, then that would be really concerning to me.
Yeah.
Because you've given this guy a very gentle out to just stop. And he has, he can just hope that you're not going to say anything or tell anyone. And then he could just, his response of, I'm just confused, but okay. His confusion might just be of his own actions, but he's probably a little feels a little silly, a little, but the hope is that was a wake up call.
And then I feel bad that he is uncomfortable and that he feels lost. So I'm like, do I give,
Nope.
At this point, it's been days, so I'm not going to, but of course in the moment I was like, do I give further explanation? Like, I don't want him sitting there beating himself up about this, but
he should beat himself up. He made some poor decisions, again, I'm glad he helped you out, but again, he invited you to a baseball. He asked you on a date.
Right. And to me, that's how I took it too. But then I also was giving him the benefit of the doubt, because he said, this is what coworkers do. And this is what
he's justifying his actions. He doesn't ask a 24-year-old woman out just because they're a coworker. And he's,
and again, though, I have a +1. I'm like, then take your wife. Why you gotta take
or a buddy or a male coworker, or
right.
Again, he knows
your
better.
Dog, I don't know.
He knows better. He's trying to act dumb. You've been more than gracious, and that's why I think it's really important for you to understand who you need to go to if you need to go to someone. Because I do think now that you've already had that conversation, that is the logical next step. Because if he doesn't use this as a wake up call and go, wait, you know what? Honestly, I was flying too close to the sun there. She's giving me an out here. We can just pretend I was never fucking weird to my 24-year-old woman employee while I'm married, and thank my lucky stars that she gave me that grace. And I'm just going to be a fucking professional and just be fucking normal. And I'm going to try to avoid her and she'll avoid me. And we can just forget that ever happened. And maybe I need to figure out my shit at home. That's the appropriate response. If he doesn't do that, then that this should be a wake up call.
Yeah, I would hope so. And someone brought to my attention too, maybe I should give him more of an explanation. So that way, if he does it again, or if he has these feelings towards another coworker, he understands exactly where he went wrong. I'm like, but that's not my job.
It's not your job. It's not your responsibility. He's an adult man. It's not, no.
Okay.
He should know better. He probably does know better. It's like, just because we do dumb things doesn't mean we don't know better. We just convince ourselves in the moment of why we're different, why this situation's different. I'm not really doing the thing that like everyone would think I would be doing. Oh, it's not a date or whatever. Like, he's lying to himself and he's playing games with themselves. And we all do this, right? Like, it's a human thing to do. And every once in a while, people give us grace and give us an out, like you gave him grace. And he can use, again, they can use this as a wake up call or not. And the people who like, and if he can't connect the dots, then it's definitely not your job to explain it. And it might require you having to say something, because you shouldn't be made to feel this way at work.
I don't think so either. And I don't think anything is going to happen, or maybe I'm just telling myself that, but I do see him at work. Our classrooms are pretty close to each other. I am there late. Why he's there late, I don't know, but I want to make sure I'm, safe and like.
Yeah, he probably won't do it. He's probably there late because he doesn't want to go home and hates his wife or something.
And exactly. And like, there's a reason he's not going home. So something else is going on. That's not my business, but don't get me involved. Like, I don't.
Yeah. I'm sorry you're going through this. It sucks.
That's okay. Thank you.
Find out who you need to talk to, because I think we're at that point if it continues.
Okay. And it's crazy that never even, you said, who's your HR person? I was like, why did I never even like think to bring this to someone's attention?
Well, it's not easy to do, and we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I imagine a lot of women in your situation start, blaming yourself. Oh, was I too flirty? Did I give them the wrong impression? Like,
which is 100% what I'm sitting here eating myself up about. I'm like, where did I go wrong?
Nowhere. You were a new person at a job looking for a familiar face, having a hard time making friends, and quite frankly, he probably took a little bit of advantage of that. And you needed help, and he was willing to give you help, and you didn't do anything wrong. And he should know better.
And he did, in fact, tell me that I am the one making this weird and uncomfortable. So I think that's where I'm also like, did I? Like, I did make this weird and uncomfortable.
He's being a little gaslighty. And you didn't respond to that, right?
No, that one I did not respond to.
Yeah.
Because
again, he should know better. I mean, he should know better. He's a teacher. It's not like some guy who's worked at a coal mine who doesn't know how to act around women. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, for sure.
He of all people should know better. He's an educator. He's around. He works with a lot of women. He teaches young girls. Like, he should have this type of self-awareness. And again, we all make mistakes. And I'm hopeful that chances are, even despite what he said to you, because that's what we say when we feel embarrassed and we try to like put it on the other person and yada, yada, yada. But again, the big question is how is he going to move? Is he going to respect this? Is he going to move? Is he going to use this as a second? Because you truly gave him a second chance.
I feel like, yeah, for sure.
You could have already.
Well, define second chance, I guess, because what.
I'm saying, like, you could have easily been like, you could have go talk to someone. Maybe it's like a counselor and say, hey, I'm in a tough spot here. Obviously, I'm new, Mr. Whatever the fuck, and it kind of escalated. And now I'm just getting, you have text messages sent, you have the receipts, you have him inviting you to a game. It's not like you're accusing him of something like super nefarious, but you have enough there to go to someone and say, it's making me a little uncomfortable. I've asked him to stop. And that, like, anyone, if you were to report that somehow, it would be the requirement of the person you're reporting to do something. And then, like, it's 2026, it's just like, unfortunately, I think still things get swept under the rug, but like, I think we're more, we are acknowledging the importance of speaking up, and you really gave him some grace, and you didn't have to do that. And I hope that he realizes that. To be over, but he's about to blow. Like, there's a lot of people who make some really bad decisions in these moments, and he sounds like he's been on this path. And thank God you weren't interested, and thank God you were, But that's his journey. You've done enough, and you've given him enough grace. But protect yourself and find out who you need to talk to if it comes down to it. And keep trying to make friends, and maybe this isn't your forever place.
Yeah, which I don't think, it's my first teaching job, I imagine I will go to another school at some point. But yeah, it does kind of suck that I'm like, dang, like I really wanted to make friends. And the first one, I felt like I somewhat made it, even though I didn't picture us hanging out, but the first teacher.
You seem like a lovely enough person who I'm
really questioning it now. I'm like, dang, what am I doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm honestly I've never been a teacher, but I would think, yeah, you would think someone would want to like, get to know you.
You would think. I would think. I'm like, I think I'm a fun person, but who knows? Maybe I just need to like flat out ask, hey, do you guys do anything after school?
Honestly, like maybe like to say, I'm new here. Like I'm having a hard time making friends here. Maybe find like, is there someone that you could just be vulnerable enough with to just say, like it's tough making friends here. I've really tried. Can you have some advice for me?
Yeah.
Like another woman your age.
Yeah, I think a lot of the teachers there too have been there for a couple years, so I am new. So I think they've kind of, it's not that it's cliquey, but they've already kind of established their groupings and their friends. And then
What if you figure out all the women that are relatively your age? Maybe you send like an email about like make it like almost like an you're teachers all seem to be good organizers. You created this after school program, but what if it's just like, hey guys, I'm just new here. Maybe sounds weird, but like I'd love to like get to know my peers, and I'm having a hard time making friends, and I don't know what's going on in all your lives. But if there's anyone out there who like wants to do some like after school stuff on the weekend, or if you're also looking for friendships, like just let me know. And it's real gentle, real vulnerable, but just about friendships, and see who takes you up on that.
Yeah, no, I think they would take me. I think if I say it like that, I think they would take me up on it. I don't think it's anyone dislikes me. I just think we just haven't had the time to.
Unfortunately nowadays in 2026, we're so used to texting our vulnerability or emailing it. It's hard to do it face to face. So maybe put that out there in like a little email to the ladies and like a group chat, be like, and say like, I'd love to start like some kind of like, for anyone who out there who like is single or like has some free time or just looking to make friends at work, let me know. And I'd love to, maybe we can organize something.
Yeah, for sure. And that was a thing the older teacher had said too, about, oh, this is what coworkers do. I'm like, really? Where are the other ones then? Because I don't see anyone doing that.
But listen, he's partly right, but he's using, he's normal, like it's manipulative. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry you're dealing with this. It sounds like you're handling it the best you can. Find out who your person is. Reach out to the girls at work. You've given him a ton of grace. You're not crazy. You've done nothing wrong. That's
thank you
more than anything.
I've been spiraling, so I communicate with teenagers all day, so it's nice to hear from an adult. So
yeah, you've been more than gracious. You've given this guy a lifeline he doesn't deserve, and I wouldn't give him another one.
Okay, noted. Very much. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
It's been a dream.
Good luck out there.
Thank you.
Keep us posted. I'd love to know what happens next.
Yes, if he reaches out, I'll give you guys an update.
Okay. All right. Take care.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.